Once again, welcome friends to another Dune video. Today we look at the ranks within the Sisterhood, the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood, including the position of hidden rank and how a Reverend Mother is named. As shown in the Dune Encyclopaedia, let's get straight into it. There is first a breeding index that decides each candidate's eligibility to join the Bene Gesserit. Children who are thought could be potential members are tested with the Gomja bar for humanness, and from that, those showing a certain sensitivity and intelligence and interest are trained. This training will be carried out at a chapter house or by a Bene Gesserit within the candidate's own home. Homeschooling, to give it a word. After 5 years of training, they would be tested on their skills, and those potential people will be split into two groups. Some would be marked as possible Reverend Mothers, and others for membership in the General Sisterhood. If successful, the member would take an oath called the Ceremony of the Initial Oath. A proctor superior administered the oath to each person, touching their forehead and saying the ceremonial words, to which a Bene Gesserit would respond with, "I am a Bene Gesserit, I exist only to serve," a confirmation of the pledge to be a sister, to serve the sisterhood for the betterment of mankind above their own unknown family. We've seen Jessica, for example, she doesn't know who her parents are. Perhaps this is easier for the Bene Gesserit to then indoctrinate them into their ways without that longing for the past. Next, all will receive the general duties of breeders, perhaps for a wide catchment in terms of the programme and the amount of genetics that are needed. And they also get special training to become specific subsets, concubines or wives of the aristocracy. Others would go to teach and tutor others in the order or join the web of Bene Gesserit information gatherers, which I think is a function of the hidden rank, as perception of high rank might affect what they are told. But more on that later. Further roles, as the Dune Encyclopaedia lays out, are historians and archivists to keep the order's records, accountants and scribes to run the order's businesses, and domestic managers for the chapter houses and their related schools. After 3 years of training, these people would be brought as one together in the Hall of Gathering and take their vows to be Bene Gesserit. Here, senior sisters would listen to the newest sisters repeat the credo. Religion is the emulation of the adult by the child. Religion is the enclosure of past beliefs. Mythology, which is guesswork, the hidden assumptions of trust in the universe. Those pronouncements which people have made in search of personal power, all of it mingled with shreds of enlightenment, and always the ultimate unspoken commandment is, "Thou shalt not question." But we question, we break that commandment as a matter of course. The work to which we have set ourselves is the liberating of the imagination, the harnessing of imagination to humankind's deepest creativity. These trained sisters were then given posts in the field, in chapter houses or schools. Reverend Mothers entered the second level of their training, now where they would work in chapter houses or in the mother houses as messengers. A Reverend Mother who travelled would take some of these mothers in training with them. They would be evaluated over 2 years. The review would be made by a board of proctor superiors, and these would receive one of 3 fates: reassignment for further training, disqualification for Reverend Motherhood, thus becoming regular sisters, or advancement to the levels of the acolyte. Any promoted acolyte would be assigned to a group of Reverend Mothers, and they would serve and learn from them personally for 1 to 6 years. The time based on the skill of that potential Bene Gesserit. Then there was a third stage, and there would be a further credo spoken there. As the Dune Encyclopaedia states it, age slowly, but slowly age. The world of time is inhabited by creatures who ate worn by time, and we must appear to be as they are. Extend your time, but do not exceed the limits of your culture. It is better to die one's own death than to be killed as a sorceress. And then there is a second part to the credo. To suspect your own mortality is to know the beginning of terror. To learn irrefutably that you are mortal is to know the end of terror. Though at this point they could be apprenticed to another Reverend Mother, they would ultimately find their own role in the sisterhood. Final rites could take from 5 to 10 years, and at the rites, the candidates took the water of life and they became full reverend mothers and would then choose a 3-part name. This was designed to show 2 things: the antiquity of the order and the efficiency of its breeding charts. A Bene Gesserit would, as the Dune Encyclopaedia details regarding the names, keep her family name to designate her position in the breeding indices, but to it she added a name, always male, from the original order of the Bene Gesserit on ancient Terra, and a name honouring a famous woman from the history of the Sisterhood. The obvious example here would be the Reverend Mother Gaius Hellam Mahayam. Now, a Reverend Mother, or other role that is of hidden rank, was one who lived or worked in a position in which her official rank would prohibit her usefulness or endanger her life, such as Shaddam's wife, who is known to be a Bene Gesserit of hidden rank, known to those of us not in the Dune universe, just to be clear. This could, for example, stop a man in a major house taking a Reverend Mother to bed in fear of what their motivation might be to do that. There were 4 sub-ranks within that of a Reverend Mother: Proctor, Proctor General, and Proctor Superior, and all of those ranks, no matter their designation, could be truth-sayers or ambassadors. And that, friends, is where we end today's video, because we have covered all the Dune Encyclopedia's bounty for this section. Anything to say? Drop me a comment. Have you been inducted into the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood? Let me know.